We were going to start the select board meeting for May 16, 2024. Our first order of business is the flag salute. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We will start with public comment. Nothing, Sue?
I'm giving you guys a break.
Is there any other public comment? Barring none, we'll move on. Are those here? I don't see them.
You can just make are the labels here? That would be a negative.
Okay, so I will skip that. On the zoning, do we read it?
Vern read it last time.
Okay.
So if the select board is in agreement, then you just make a motion.
So as we discussed at the last meeting, our zoning fee schedule
You're gonna have to
was
speak up,
amended.
Mary.
You gotta speak up, couple people don't hear you back there.
So we're revised our zoning fee schedule, and so we presented it at the last meeting. And I'm asking the select board if they're willing to make a motion to accept it.
I move to accept.
I'll second it.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, next up is the public hearing for Franklin County Field Days. Ferdinand, would you like to begin?
Come right up here, Ferdinand.
Well, we can begin, but this is mostly a question and answer form, right? So, if anybody's got questions, I'll try to answer.
My house is in the middle of that field. How am I gonna stay safe with all that's going on?
Well, we do have police protection there. The sheriff's department is there. It's like where we are now. There isn't really any problems there. He used to be there. He was helping us with the field days back a couple of years ago. It's usually your usual boy and girl fight. You're looking at my girlfriend, you know, they start to fight. But other than that, I think we can't guarantee nothing,
Yeah.
but
There's houses that are right along the site right now. They don't seem to have any problems. Multiple houses, for many years.
How many acres does your Franklin County field base sit on right now at this moment?
we're at 49 acres.
That's a lot more land than's on that side of the
Well,
road.
here we got 31 acres. They haven't, let's not go, we don't want to put the cart in front of the horse here, but we haven't made a deal to buy it yet.
Oh, I get what you're saying, but your trucks were all parked over there, so I'm just curious.
Yeah, we were discussing, but there's no done deal. It's not even close, is it? It's not even close. It's another piece of land we looked at, and we looked at how many, probably 25 so far this summer and last year. And we do engineering work before we buy it, we get input from the town. And there's a lot of stuff that goes into this, so it's not a done deal by a long shot, But there's been a lot of questions around the town. So we're thinking, let's get out there and answer some of those questions, and it's a fair. And they don't stick the fairs in the middle of nowhere. It's usually right like the Essex Fair, the Rutland Fair. They're all.
Your Franklin County buildings, your buildings aren't used just for your fair time.
I need everybody to speak up. I can hear zero.
Right. I was curious about parking. What are you doing with that?
Well, the Vermont Electric Co-op owns 30 acres, and they said we could park over there.
Here, then
So that gives us almost 60 acres. It would work. Listen, we've been looking at a lot of land all over.
Ferdinand,
So far, this
can
is
we
fine.
ask you to come up here because your voice isn't projecting for Wendy? Please, thank you.
Because everybody's facing that way
Well,
to speak.
there isn't one here, unfortunately.
Abby was gonna bring her horn. So where was I? We looked at a lot of land, and in almost every town, Sheldon, Ned Albin, Franklin, all over, and there's always an issue with the land. There's too much clay. It's environmentally sensitive, you know. It's a wetland. What else we got there?
Land trust,
What is it?
the land trusted land.
The land trust, you know, like Belisle here, Alan Belisle, I think. That beautiful field on the right-hand side is go around Bowyer's Corner. You know, that would be a nice spot for field days too. A lot of land there, but it's in the land trust. And we run into quite a few parcels that are in the land trust. So, it's hard to. So right now, we don't even have this piece of land yet. You know, we're just talking, and it could be another one like the last 25 we looked at. You know, we might not end up with any land. This is our last year on the airport road, and after that, we gotta start moving buildings or tearing them down. So, any other questions? Yeah.
Ferdinand, can you talk about just kind of what the plan is, and maybe that will eliminate some of the questions? So you want to move down here, you want to park under the power lines.
Right.
How will this affect those field days? Would they pay taxes if they purchase this land? Will there be a noise ordinance, and you know, with it being so close to the village, would those poles be done at a reasonable time? Like, can you just talk kind of about what the plan would be, and maybe that would eliminate some questions?
So currently, Franklin County Field Days is considered an agricultural society, and as such, we are exempt from paying property taxes. Where any town we move to, it would be the same thing, I believe. We would still be considered an agricultural society. We are a nonprofit organization, a 501c5, which is an agricultural designation. Moving, so this, like you said, this is our last year on the airport road. The V-Trans has given us an extension. This will be the last year that we hold the field days, and we have until July 31st of 2025 to move everything we can off. And that is their wording. There are a few other arms of Vermont government that may say differently, but that's for them to argue amongst themselves because they have given us some grants. And those grants are tied to specific buildings, like capital improvement grants, and they have a 20-year lifespan, and they're not anywhere close to the end of that life. So that's one aspect of it that we have to get figured out. Moving here, if everything were to go the way we would hope it would go, like if we were able to purchase, if we find money, if we find financing, if Velco, you know, stays with what they've said verbally and we can park the cars there, 2025, if we had a fair there at all, you're looking at everything intense. Limited amount of electricity, only what we had to have, roads, what we would have to have. We figure to move an entire fair to have a replica of what we have now would cost us over $5 million, which is $4.8 million more than we have right now. So we need some major funding, and I see it as a phased-in project. There's no way you're going to have a fair like you have now in 25 or 26 or 27. Every year we're going to have to add one more, maybe one more building or one more project, just like they've done over the last 40 years on Airport Road. Every year they try to make an improvement, and I see we're just starting over from ground zero. It's the same thing. We have to start over from ground zero. There might be a couple of buildings we could move. We can move our bleachers. We can maybe move some of the ticket booths. We could maybe move the scale and the jersey barriers, yeah. But I mean, some of those buildings are just too big to move. So we have to go through a phased-in approach. We have to go through Act 250. And that too is going to be hurdles that we don't even know how high those are, if we can overcome them or not. So there's so many more unknowns than knowns at this point, but that's kind of what we're thinking. And none of us none of us got on the board so that we could move the fair. You got on the board so that you can make the fair as nice as it can be, you know, so everyone that comes has a good time, and, you know, you try to cover all your bases with all the events you have and the activities. So we're not contractors, and we're not movers, we're not surveyors or engineers.
We're 15 directors, and we joined the fair because it was fun. That's why I joined. I want to have a good time. And we did. We grew the fair slowly, and we had a great time. A lot of people came. Last year we had 18,000 people. So, and this year we anticipate probably 20,000. But we're not developers. You know, none of us are developers or builders. Or, you know, we got dreams, but that's about it.
Now, are we talking just those 4 days, or are we talking, like she said, like multiple different events throughout the year that I have to just come home and go, wow, what's going on in my backyard today?
It's very possible.
So,
if we're going to spend $5 million, then we're not going to use it just 4 days a year. It doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? It doesn't make any sense.
I don't think we're planning on having a field days every month for 6 months. You know, the winter, I think you could say, would probably be pretty quiet. We would love to put in a 12 or an all year round building, one that is insulated and heated, that could be used as a field days office, because right now we've got that trailer, and well, we'll probably have to move it because it's the only thing there on wheels. But we would like to phase that out and put a real office in. And we have another group that would like to put their office in there.
Natural Resources Conservation District.
There you go, that one. We'd like to have an office space there too, and we see that as a good thing because we're not there all the time. But if they're there at least 5 days a week all year long, boy, that would be great. They can keep an eye on things. They're not very loud, you know, but they'd be in and out and keeping an eye on stuff so that you don't have to worry about. Like now at field days, you know, we drive by it pretty often, you know, just to make sure things, but no one's going and checking out all the grounds every, you know, and I wouldn't expect them to, but you know, they're gonna notice, oh, that door is off, how come? And maybe say, call somebody and say, hey, I think you can come look at something. So I see that as a positive. What year that happened, couldn't tell you. Franklin County Field Days, the event itself, those 4 days do not generate a profit. We spend as much as we make. So in order to have any kind of slush fund for projects, that's where the weddings and the winter storage have always come in, and other, you know, other events. So when we rent them, the wedding barn, you know, you can, I don't know if anyone's had their wedding there, but you know, you get that. Not for the last couple of years, but before the talk of having to move, that place was rented almost every weekend. And that generates a good amount of revenue. So between that and the car storage, that's the only thing that gives us any extra money to do projects.
Because during the fair, we charge $15 admission right now. It used to be 10. We went up to 15 a couple of years ago. But that pays for all the rides, you know. The ride costs us over $100,000. It pays for the pulling track, which is, I think Saturday night alone costs us $25,000. You know, and it pays for all the other, the entertainment, what else is it? You know,
all the premiums. So if you enter your vegetables, or you're in the homemakers building, the 4-H building, it's the premiums for the horse pulls and the ox pull and the cattle show and
the little piggy roundup, you know.
Yeah.
And then you got the coins that's for the kids. There's so many things there, like, you know, that little train that goes around. It's all free, right? But somebody has to pay for it. The mechanical bull and the castle that you bounce off them, all those things, it's all free. You pay $15 to get in, except for the food, everything is free. You know, you don't do that in every other fair. You know, it's $15 for parking. So, but this year we may have to go up a little bit because the inflation is really hitting us pretty hard. And, but we try to keep it down to a minimum. We don't really want to make money. We're a non-profit. We'll make it affordable for all the people of Franklin County.
that's it. We don't need to make money on the fair. It's just so that you know that's not a moneymaker. The smaller events are where we can generate a little bit of profit.
Yeah.
Like the car storage last year, we made about $18,000 on car storage. We won't have that with the new site because we have no place to store anything.
We love this site over here. We really don't want to move. There are 18 buildings. There are 23 electric meters and 200 amp services. That's a lot, you know. That's a lot of electricity. It's a small village. You got 7,000 people there on a Friday and Saturday night. So you got food and water for everybody, entertainment. It's quite a miracle that we can pull it off, you know. So, but yeah, so it's hard to find that perfect piece of land. We don't know if this is the really right one, you know. And it is noisy. You know, I can hear it from my house. I live 6 miles away.
I can hear it at my house. Which is what scares me, because if it's in my, I can hear it from my house when the polls are going on currently.
Yeah.
And if it's in, like,
Right there.
behind me,
We really don't hear it.
you know?
Yeah, but that's where, you know, we're here tonight to take in your concerns, and if, you know, and if there's too many that say, you know, this is too close to town, forget it. Well, we're gonna forget it.
How many acres does just your track take up? That has to be a lot.
It's 500 feet by 100. It's not really that bad, about an acre. You know. So.
Plus it brings money into the town too.
Say again?
It brings money into the town. People stop by gas or just stop to the store, you know.
Yeah, all the local stores will do very well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey Ferdinand, Sean Rainville. I'm one of the citizens here in Highgate who is definitely opposed to this. That field is essentially in my backyard.
Yeah.
I see it from my window.
Oh yeah.
I'm really concerned with the noise. Obviously, I have 2 small kids.
Yeah.
I'm also concerned with just the safety, the foot traffic back there, with the parking, the Belco.
You really don't want it there.
I absolutely do not want it there.
You don't want it.
Well, I didn't say that. I just wanted to know what you had to say. Let me just clarify that. I just want to know how you're going to keep me safe.
So I know you're on a tight timeline here, and obviously you guys need to make a decision, but if there's any possibility of not putting it so close to the center of town, I don't know, I don't know if I'm in the minority here or not.
You got some land somewhere else that's all sandy? We'd happily go there. I mean, like seriously though, we had a feasibility study done. They've been working on it for over a year now. We have, we got an engineer that was looking for land all over. Sarah came on our board last year. She's got resources. She's been looking for land all over. We've got a realtor looking for land all over Franklin County. Like no part of Franklin County is off limits, really. But there's just nothing there. I mean, like we've looked all over. This is the one that checks the most boxes as a potential site. If this falls through, which it very likely could. I mean, I have no idea how it's going to play out. There's no field days. Field days is done. There's no more land in Franklin County.
Field day's got to take a year or 2 off to find the right piece of property, and so be it. But
Well, so I look at it like, you remember the Swanton Festival? So they ran out of volunteers and they stopped having it, and was it maybe 5 or 6 years ago, maybe 10 years ago?
They tried to bring it back.
Yeah, they tried to bring it back. The land is still there, but they have no volunteers. Nobody wants to volunteer the amount of time necessary to start that back up again. And even our current directors are questioning the amount of time they've got available. Because like we said, none of us are in construction, we're not engineers and not surveyors, so we're relying on other people to do these services. Whereas right now, everyone on the board, contributes something, so we don't have to have as many costs. Like the track, we have a director on who runs the track, and his family happens to have an arm of his family in excavation. And they're nice enough to sponsor that, so we don't have to pay for a lot of those things. Putting up fence, whoever's around in our family puts up fence, inside the fairgrounds, no cost. And a lot of volunteers. If you shut field days down for more than a year or 2, I don't think you're gonna get it back.
You lose all your contacts, you know, like the ride company, they were hired last year to be this year, you know? And now he's calling me, like he called me today, says, oh, we're gonna have a place for 25. I says, well, I don't know yet, you know, I have nothing right now, but I'm working on it. I really need to know really soon, you know? The ride company that we have is a really nice company, you know? And just, I don't know if some of you were there last year, but there was one ride called the Superman ride. Anybody remember that one? Were you there? It was a $1 million ride. And it was the only one on the East Coast, the only one. He brought it to our fair, you know. He didn't bring it anywhere else. From here, went back to New York City. But he brought it up here just because he liked it. But it would scare so many kids, a lot of kids would get on it. It would get too scary.
Another thing with the ride company is that,
We have a good relationship.
but they run a circuit. So they come to us from a fair in New York. Then after us, they go, like we finish on Sunday. Sunday night, they break down all night long and they run over down to Addison County afterwards. If we don't have a fair, they won't run this circuit, and Addison County is out of a ride company too.
And so was Caledonia.
Yeah, so, and while that's not your concern really, I'm just letting you know that a lot of factors come into play. Jacques put his hand up.
Yeah, have you looked at a lot of other sites? Because I know that site that you're looking at.
At least 25.
Because I farmed in there, on the power line, it's wet. Very wet.
On the far end of the power line?
The main road, all the way down, is very wet. Water comes, there's no ditch inside of that road, it goes across, there's no culvert, and it goes to Richard's place, and it's wet.
Yeah,
Very
my
wet.
kids-
I
my
don't think
kids,
that's a proper
where I
site.
skate, right on the side of my yard. It's so wet that the kids could ice skate right there.
Why is it like that? What's
Because there's no ditch in there.
Well, we'll put a ditch in.
Yeah, no, but it goes on other people's land, it's more than that.
Yeah,
With Act 250, we'd probably be required to put in stormwater ponds. So we would be able to.
You gotta get the water out.
We would have to slope the land to move that.
Yeah, but you gotta understand that piece of land, because the sand, Highgate is sand, and it goes to clay. And water always comes out of there. I got woods in there, there's a brook that starts right here, and it goes water.
it's not a done deal yet. We have to have our engineer, Peter Missouri, the civil engineer, he goes through that whole place. He's gonna tell us it's gonna cost this, cost this, cost this. He says, well, this piece of land probably ain't gonna work. So he hasn't done that yet. He has looked at it briefly on a paper and a map. He says, there's potential here, but that's all, just potential. So, we got a long ways to go yet. And so,
Come on outside that hand up. Oh,
Now, I know that FAA is probably demanding that they get the property, right?
the FAA,
Is the federal and state government going to contribute funds to help you move or help you continue the process? Or are they just saying, hey, you're out of here?
I think, I don't know.
well, not this year, because they've closed their
Right,
legislative
but I mean, the
session.
future.
We don't know what the future holds for that. We're hoping
they'll
that
help us.
somebody will go to Montpelier and convince their constituents that they should put some money in for us, but it may not happen. The Department of Ag, is that where grants come from?
Yep, our capital grant.
Okay, so every year, the legislature puts money into the budget for all the fairs in Vermont. I think there's 10 or 11 of them, for capital improvements and a stipend fund. So, everybody gets about 10 grand or so for the stipend. And then capital grants, it's up to $35,000 capital grant. So for the last 3 years, I've been applying for it, but I've been applying for it to purchase land or to put in infrastructure for a new piece of property. So they've been giving it to us, but holding it until we have a place to use it. Last year, they reevaluated it and they said, well, you can't use this money to buy the land, but you can use this money to put in infrastructure on your new land. So we have about 90,000 being held for us in that, in the grants.
In the grant, yeah.
I forget the name of the group, but I think it's through the Department of Agriculture.
It is,
Yeah.
Well, if they're making you homeless, seems like they would probably help you.
Verbally, V-Trans has said they would help us move if we were so many miles from our current site. Nothing in writing, obviously. They're really good at that. So we plan to hold them to their verbal agreement of helping us move. But again, I don't think they can move all these buildings. So hopefully they can move our Jersey barriers, you know, the concrete blocks on the side of the track, and maybe some bleachers, but we'll see.
Any other questions?
I don't have a question, but just to be very clear about it, like Sean was, I am opposed to the location that you're looking at. I would suggest the same thing, that you need to take a couple years. I understand what you're saying. I grew up at Field Days. I mean, when it was a 3-day fair, I was there showing my cows. I lived there. I love Field Days. I think that it's too close to the village. I live right here, right across from the school, and I'm concerned about the noise. I mean, it's been said, you can hear those pulls from the village where they are now, and if they're going to continue to go as late as they do, which I assume they will, I don't know, you know, how you would really get around that. Right. For those reasons, I am opposed to this location.
Richard?
This is just a comment. I don't understand our Vermont legislatures. We are the largest agricultural county in New England. We are the highest maple sugar producing county in the United States. And you're abandoning our field days, throwing us to the wind. Somebody's not thinking down there. Where do they get their food?
Where's our representative?
You know what? If this is V-Tran, they're making up. It's not really V-Tran. They're blaming it on the FAA.
No, they're blaming it on the FAA. The only comment I ever got was, well, if there's an accident, you've got thousands of people there 5 days a year.
If there's an accident, we get 1,000 kids in that school.
There you go. Excellent. Bring that up.
And I would say that 1,000 lives is as valuable as the 5,000 at the fair.
No, there's other plans for that site, and they're just overriding us and using any little pissy excuse they can find.
Have you thought about Hog Island? Hog Island?
West Farm.
Oh, West Swamp, Hog Island.
There's a
Somebody
big
was
farm out
telling
there.
me about that, and I told Peter about it. He said that's all wetland.
Is it?
There's a lot of clay out there. If you've ever been to Addison County, we're trying to avoid that type of fair. Where, you know, last year, the first day, it poured rain, and they, you know, I think they have 8 records on hand to get everybody out of the parking lot.
You might want to take a good look at that, because there's a lot of land there, and I think that something could be done. You won't be disturbing anybody, you're not on the lake.
Is that where Gilbert, father-in-law used to live? They used to sell
The water table there is pretty high.
Yep. It's wetlands.
Yeah. It's pretty low out there too. I don't know. We would have to look at it. Something to explore.
That soil is off clay. I grew up there.
Is it what?
The soil is clay.
The soil is all clay on West Farm.
Heard is, other than, I believe, Essex County, there's no other county without a fair in the state, correct?
Washington?
Washington, they don't have a fair.
Is Orange?
They used, about 10 years ago, they ceased for some reason, and they donated to us a lot of their stuff. So, yeah, they don't have one. But Caledonia has one.
And no matter what site that you were to find, it would be fenced in, like you
Well,
have.
they're going to be fenced in.
Right.
But a lot of towns out there, Rutland Fair, Essex Fair, Freiburg, we got the Malone Fair right in the middle of Malone. You know, the Maple Festival is right in the middle of Cadalman. June Dairy Day in the middle of Enosburg. I mean, they all make noise, but people adapt. You know.
But they don't have land that they're on. The Dairy Day, they walk down, they go down Main Street. It's not, they're not set up for 3 or 4 days.
Right. Yeah, They use, just like it all, they use the fire. So.
Is there any leeway in this polling times? I think that's most of our concern here is you're gonna listen to tractors and all the fumes all night long.
Oh, yeah.
So like, it's gonna suck. Can it go till 7 p.m. and then be done?
Yeah, that would change my opinion. Honestly, I know that would change my opinion.
Question to the select board, if we could, is there what's the time frame for a noise ordinance in Highgate?
Do we have a noise ordinance?
10 p.m.
We do?
10 p.m.
10 p.m.
But that's currently the noise ordinance, and it's,
Correct.
it's not, it's not enforced right now.
It's not our ordinance.
It's state statute.
State statute.
Oh, state.
Anything else? Joe?
Where's the traffic gonna go in and out? That road right there.
That has not yet been determined, that's part of Act 250.
Yeah.
And they'll tell us where it's going and where it's going out. And the state will do studies on different roads. So that's another big hurdle. You know, we got, I think Jordan's there to jump these hurdles. So anything else?
What about Redding?
What is?
Redding, rent a piece of land.
What land?
Oh, renting.
Rent.
Oh, rent. That's what we do now, look at the trouble we're in. You know, I paid it this morning, it was $3,400 to rent that piece of land. Which is cheap.
Right now, Doc.
But everything has been great for some reason up until the airport expansion. When the airport expansion started coming together and all that money came from the federal government, you got $3-4 million in the runway and lighting, and now the FAA, let's follow the rules, you know. The rules are there's no fares on our land. So if we wouldn't have done so much of an expansion, I think we might have done okay. But expansion is good too, that shows growth in your community, and you never know, it might bring in more jobs. So growth is always great. We're done. Any questions from the select board?
Ferdinand, why don't you ask those that are here, who's in favor and who's not, so you have an idea?
Oh, I think I got it pretty good. It's up to you folks. It's up to you folks if you want to show us hands or not. You don't have to.
I haven't decided.
Yeah, they probably haven't
I don't have
decided.
enough information yet.
You know.
I mean, like they were saying, if adjustments could be made, it would be a different, I would feel
How many meetings have you
different.
had with the realtor?
Say again?
How many meetings have you had with the realtor?
It's right there, ask her.
Formal one tonight, just one tonight. Yeah.
So,
I mean, it's possible that we could adjust times on polls. That would be something we would have to go back to the Tractor Pullers Association. That's who runs the Friday night and the Saturday night polls. And I have no idea what their timelines look like. And our chair that runs the polls is not here, so.
lately, we've been getting done like 11:30.
But they're saying they'd like to be done by 7, 8 o'clock.
Oh my God. Friday just starting though.
Well, I know, but they're not concerned with the party, they're concerned with the noise.
Instead of one, they can be done with it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why my whole life it's always gone to that, so I don't know why it always starts at, well, I don't even know what time it starts, I'm stuck in that trailer. 6 o'clock?
7.
Starts at 7, okay, there you go. Why it starts at 7 and as opposed to starting
Well,
at.
because everybody works on Friday during the day, so they're not going to want to have a truck or a tractor pull at noon if nobody's going to come.
That's right.
There's something I want to do. I
It's
take
the same with the demolition derby. You know, that starts at 7, but it gets done by 9, so that ain't too bad. But you can't have it on Thursday afternoon, there'll be nobody there.
It's not as loud as the tractor pulls.
It's not, no. This year, by the way, we're gonna do 2 of them. One on Sunday afternoon also. Demo derby. Isn't that exciting?
If it's our last year, we gotta go out with a bang.
Hopefully there'll be some cars left.
Right? That's what I said. Is there enough cars like that in town? And he says there's plenty of Franklin County to go.
You folks have any questions?
Pretty much any question that was answered. Anything I had was answered, so thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to remind anybody that hasn't signed in, please sign in. Wendy likes to keep track of all of that.
Everyone has signed in, Mary.
Okay. Making sure. Shelley, you're up.
Okay.
You want to take a couple minute break in case people are...
Quick break for the people that don't want to stay for a regular meeting.
Okay.
Well, this is a normal select board meeting.
Are we good?
I think so.
Okay. Mary has a check warrant in front of her.
Is there a motion to accept the check warrant? You all received it by email?
Yes. Yes.
Move to accept. I'll make that motion.
Motion made by Richard, seconded by Ben? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Mary did bring up a point to me earlier today. She had a question on the Middlebury dispatch checks, or, well, yes, I did cut them a check, but they had 2 invoices that they sent me just last week, and it was for the second quarter and the third quarter of 2023. So they're not current invoices, but we did never pay them. So they were owed that money. I was just a little perturbed that they sent us so late.
So late.
Yes. Delinquent taxes, down $69,735.20. And this tax sale list is getting smaller and smaller, so.
Excellent.
That is good. I'd like it to be closer to 0 before we move forward with publicly notifying when that date is. The other thing I had sent in my email was about the charging station. So, the charging station, which was free, we've never been charged for it other than the electric. We spent a lot of money on electric, $708, $708.06. We've brought in a total of $363.23 since 2019 in revenue. Now they want to bill us annually because they want to move to a cloud system, not analog. I kind of told the lady I didn't think it was worth it, but I'm not a decision maker, so I would bring it to you before I signed anything.
And we're not mandated?
It's not mandated. She said our option would be to move in the direction of the cloud, get our piddly little bit of revenue, and parts and services are guaranteed. Or it then becomes our full responsibility to fix if it's broken, and we would lose the revenue. But I don't know that the revenue is, so we've replaced the modem once since we've had it, and I think that was a forced replacement of an upgrade, not because it was broken. And that was $280. So right now, you're in the hole $625 for that charging station anyway. The revenue's not doing anything. The electric's kind of minimal. I just don't know what you want to do about it.
What is we have to have that, we have to keep it operating now?
No, I don't think you do have to keep it operating, but it's going to operate just as it always has. The difference is
what I'm saying is if we just say, get rid of it.
you can do that. I don't know. I don't know either.
Because it came from a grant, so that's why I'm asking if you can do that.
Does it have to be in for a certain amount of time? We might have to read the grant contract to see if we're obligated to have it for so many years, but without paying them, the charging station will work as it is working now. We will not see the...
It's hardly getting used enough to get broke.
That's it. That's what I said. I said, how many repairs are we going to have? It's hardly used.
My thought would be to move forward the way it is.
Yeah, it is.
And check the contract to make sure, and then if it breaks, then we'll deal with it. That's my thought.
Because I think it's a little bit, in my opinion, for one, we didn't budget for it, which I told the lady. And who knows what the cost is going to be next year.
Right.
Exactly.
It's just gonna keep.
And we're already in the hole from the electric, the electric bill doesn't even get covered by the little bit of revenue, so I would get rid of it. We're spending a lot of money. Or at least let it, they have the insert for my card, and it's a per, something like
I know
that,
we
charge.
was only in there. I don't know how long
I
we
go
had
over
that.
there and wanted to charge my vehicle, I just
Like
put your
the
card
COVID
in,
was,
and I paid for 1 hour,
Yeah.
whatever.
And then it has to reach a
No, we
certain
ran into the
amount
same
before
issues
I even
because
see anything.
they guaranteed things and now
So,
But does the town receive 1% of that, like, we
Oh,
talk about revenue, what is
the
the
cut? That would also probably be in the grant agreement.
So, like, I guess I'm asking, can you increase the rate? Do you
I
have
think-
control over that, or is that?
We can, but
Yeah.
I've also gotten phone calls, now my back is people, about how expensive our charging station is compared to others. So I don't know if that's also a deterrent for people using it, on top of the location is not great.
I'm sure those electric car communities all have forums, don't use this one, it's expensive. Like you would at a gas, you know, a gas station.
We charge $2.50 an hour.
$2.50 an hour,
$2.50.
and that's too expensive.
How long, many hours does
And
it
they
take?
want us all to have these
charge?
things?
Depends on the vehicle.
Well, that person that worked for the state had to come in once.
Yep.
He drove all the way to Albert from Jericho. It was winter. He barely made it to Albert. The town office was closed, like by a fluke. They should have been open. He didn't call first. He made it to the Swanton electric charge station, and that one was broken. So he came to Highgate. He sat for what, 2 or 3 hours, and was hoping in that amount of time the Prius would make it back to Jericho.
So I think he killed time in our office while his car was
Yeah,
charging.
a little bit of research and work from
Yeah.
our office.
Yeah.
I personally think we should just do some research on this, find out what our
The grant agreement.
requirements are,
Obligations
for
are.
obligations are for this, and then make a decision.
So I'll
because-
come back next meeting with more info on what our cut is and what.
We're offering a service for electric vehicles that's costing everybody money.
Yes,
That gets hardly
Yeah.
ever used. It doesn't make any sense.
no. So that's why I was like, you know what, even if we only let it run until it does break.
That's what I figured, yeah.
That's exactly where I'm going.
Yes,
Yeah, and it's, the guy that from White River, his job is to do grants and stuff. I went to a rec meeting in Middlebury last summer, and national-wide, 60% of them are broken at any given time.
60%.
We have them at our gas station.
What
same
cracks me up is you can spend $70,000, you can afford the car, but because it's $2.50 an hour, ooh, that's too expensive.
right, unless you buy one of the batteries for your home. I can't imagine it's feasible for anybody to have one of those vehicles if they have to pay to charge it. But, that's just. Okay, so I will come back with a little bit more and tell her to hold along a little bit longer. And I think that was all I had. I have one more thing up in the air, but I don't have enough information to talk about it yet because I'm still kind of fighting with them. So that's it for me unless you have something.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shelley.
Welcome.
Wendy?
Yes, ma'am. You have minutes from the last time we were together, which was May 2nd, I believe.
Is there a motion? And that would have to be Kyle or Ben.
I'll make the motion to accept it.
Kyle makes motion, Ben seconded to accept. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. So Shelby, our ACO, is going to start issuing fines after May 23rd. We are not sending any more notices, reminders, anything about dogs. I think we are pushing 800 on the books, which is good. Last year we had closer to 9, so we still have a little ways to go. We will continue to work on that and hopefully not have to fine too many folks. It is totally in their court at this point. And the only other thing I have is the Historical Society is having their lawn sale starting tomorrow at the museum. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I'm reading this backwards, 9 to 2. All 3 days. I noticed they started setting up yesterday, maybe. They got the tents out, so stop by the Historical Society and support them. School budget. We have a revote date of Tuesday, June 18th. This will be round 3 on the Missisquoi Valley School District budget. The new amount is, where did I put it? Right here. The new amount that we're going to be voting on is $48,909,437. That amount is down $835,000 from what we voted on April 30th, and down $1.87 million from when we started on town meeting day. So we will be, excuse me, voting here. We'll be in the lobby from 7 to 7. Absentee ballots will be available in a week or two. So if you want to vote early. They did have a meeting Tuesday night. I encourage people to watch the video. They had a great breakdown of, I did take a screenshot of where their cuts were made from the last time and a few things that were added back or increased. But it was a good breakdown, great discussion. Before you make your decision how you're gonna vote, I just want you to get all the info, get the facts. You feel how you feel, but just know what you're voting on. $48,909,437. And that's down $835,000 from what we voted on April 30th, and down $1,870,000 from town meeting day. So, and the cuts, I could list them, but I would prefer y'all went and watched the movie because it's worth watching. I watched it. It's a few hours long, but it's good. Shows you exactly where the cuts were made. So that's it for me. Make sure you vote on June 18th.
How do you find out, where is that site? It's the
mvsdschools.org.
Thank you.
They might put it on their Facebook page too. I haven't
they
seen
did.
it there, but I did ask for the link. They sent it to me and I watched it yesterday. So that's it for me.
Thank you.
So you have until somebody who's already having a license to dog. And then
I can't hear you very well.
She wants to know about the dog fines, how it works.
So we have an ordinance, and we have a fine structure. The first fine is $25 per dog. And then,
how do you get fined? Like your neighbor says
you didn't license your dog. So everybody's been sent multiple notices starting in January.
But like how do you know?
How do I know what?
Like how do you know where to send the notice to? From somebody that's licensed previously?
Yep, either that or we have a list that the listers or zoning or
Neighbors write themselves out.
the neighbor calls, or Shelley calls me and says, my neighbor's dog is harassing my dog. Oh, you have a dog? Thanks. Self-reporting. So that happens all the time. So we send multiple notices.
She sends a welcome packet to all new residents as well, which includes license your dog and how much.
Not my rule. I hate doing it, but it's a law we're expected to enforce at the town level. It is. Yep.
They get a cut of the money.
Of course.
They do, yeah, every dog we license, $5 goes to the state.
I don't even remember how much it was when I license my dog.
It's 13 if you do it on time.
23 if you're late.
22, Ty. So, I mean, they're due April 1st. We still send more notices, work with people, but Shelby's, especially on an election year, we don't want to be dealing with this into election season, which is coming up. So, license your dog, don't forget to vote. That's all I got.
Thank you. Sharon?
Okay. Memorial Day. We would like the parade entrance. So if you have a float or you'd like to walk in the parade, be here at the arena, 11:15, 11:30 for lineup. Parade is at noon. The fire department's having their barbecue and they are starting to serve at 11 a.m. As part of Memorial Day, we are having a best decorated bike contest. There are cash prizes as well as ribbons. The library is going to be doing a free bike decorating program underneath the eaves at the elementary school, so you can bring your bike there and they'll have all kinds of stuff to help you decorate your bike. So show up, decorate a bike, maybe you can win some money. Switching to the rec department, on June 8th, they are having a Ties and Tiara father and daughter dance. It'll be June 8th, which is a Saturday, 5 to 7 p.m. You go on to highgaterec.org for tickets. Should be fantastic. All right. Just an update for the airport water and sewer project. We have received bids and we have chosen a bid. So our contractor for the airport water and sewer project will be ECI, Engineers Construction. They gave us the low bid at $3,086,000. High bid out of the bidders was over $6,000.
$6
So
million.
we had quite a, yeah, quite a selection. But we are quite confident they'll do a great job for us. So that work probably should start in September. It'll go as long as they can for the winter season, depending on the weather. Restart in the spring and should be done by the fall. So that brings water and sewer up to the airport road and then down the airport road to the airport terminal and possibly the next few hangars. We're just waiting for cooperation from the state. So that's good news because that means that we are fully funded. So that means we do not have to use the $500,000 bond vote that we voted on several years ago that everyone has forgotten. So that is a debt that the town will not have to take on. So that's great news.
Excellent.
Will be done the fall of 2025.
Correct. Yep.
Sharon, who was involved in the decision of who you picked? Was it a committee with Swanton Water and Sewer too?
No, it was basically done by myself and the engineers who put the bid documents out. We had a pre-bid meeting at the town of Highgate. There were 6 separate bidders, so there were consultants from those bidders. All the bids were opened via public Zoom meeting. And then recorded, and the figures were double checked, and the lowest bid that met all of the qualifications was chosen. Because once that's done, then we have to pass that information along to the Economic Development Association or administration as part of our grant agreement. So, that's what's happening there. The transfer station is going well. I have updates to send the select board, which are many pages long and lots of pictures, so you can look at the pictures. That is a huge project, and the Wrights are doing a good job. The Highgate Manor has made a request of the select board. They would like to park in or around the Highgate Falls Park on June 15th from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. because they'd like to have a car show at the manor. And they expect the manor to be full with older cars, yes, so they want to park on Park Street and possibly in the park depending on what kind of volume they have.
And how wet it is.
Well, I bet that gentleman right over there can tell you how wet it is over there.
He was hiding. It's not bad.
So they won't dig it up.
That was my concern.
I'm not gonna guarantee that.
They kind of do that now sometimes.
Yeah, we unfortunately have that.
And do the neighbors have to know this ahead of time?
No.
Okay.
No. So this is all up to the select board whether they would make a motion to grant that approval or not.
I'd make that motion as long as you put the caveat that if we've had several days of rain, that they don't actually park in the park. As long as it's dry,
And that was my concern.
and that any damage to the park that's done to the park would be taken care of by the people at the manor.
The only concern I got is the people on the other side of
That's
the
what I
park.
just asked, yeah.
They're gonna park on both sides, you know. I don't know. I think we need to let them know or,
Oh, yeah, I agree.
you know, I just think,
The manor should take a walk, and as good neighbors, just go up and just let people know that they're planning this event. I don't think they should be allowed to park on both sides of the road.
right.
I think they should be able to let one side of the road, the side of the park. My only concern is people crossing Highgate
207.
207.
No parking along 207.
Like, have to be good neighbors, like, who's, Fournier's auction, where they flag off where you shouldn't park on both sides of the road, both on Jock and Drive and
Yes.
78, you know, put a little work into it, it takes work, but at least you don't have safety issues of congested both roads right there on the road.
That's my concern is public safety, not blocking the roadway near the residences in case of emergency, and pedestrian traffic on 207 crossing the road.
So are we making a motion with stipulations, and what would you like your stipulations to be?
I think
Say them loud enough so I can hear you.
I think it has to be that either the people at the manor go and see the neighbors on the other side of the park around there, or I don't think it should be us, but I don't know. I think if they don't, I think we should probably say something, just courteous for those neighbors.
So are we parking on both
No,
sides of Park Street?
no.
No.
One side closest to the park?
Yeah.
Park side of Park Street.
And we are not parking on 207?
Correct.
Can't park on 207.
And Ty's suggestion of roping it off, cording it off is a good idea. So they don't,
Yeah,
or at least
but-
deters them. They still will, but
But I do think somebody needs to let those neighbors know.
I think the manor's responsible.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I mean, yeah, isn't
What's
that,
that?
seems a little backwards. Aren't the antique cars usually kind of parked facing into the park so people can walk around? And then the parking should be at the manor? Seems a little backwards to me, but
Well, it's their car show.
yeah, it is. It seems a little, just,
I agree with Kelly, Swan, they park in park.
yeah.
People
Right.
walk around
I think
in
there
the
would
park.
be
Yeah.
a nicer
But
show.
is that a town event? This
all
is
on
not
road
a town
than
event.
show in a
Yeah.
parking lot, but again, I think,
Just seems
like you
backwards.
said, it's their show.
Yeah.
As
Yeah.
long as they abide by our
Yeah.
request.
I mean, it's really no different when people use the Episcopal Church. They park
Right.
all over the park and they don't ask.
It's true.
Or even Little League breaking. I mean, you got cars parked everywhere down, well, not so much anymore, but it's just Brian now.
Yeah, yeah.
But,
haven't seen those kids in 10 years.
yeah.
Well, the difference is they brought it to the board.
Okay, so can we vote or make a motion and vote?
Motion with the stipulation of parking on one side, cording it off, and fix any repairs that are, or damages that are done,
And talk to the neighbors.
and talk to the neighbors.
I'll make that motion.
Motion made by Richard. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Ben seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
And I had emailed all of the RFQ paperwork, so we had, called for a request for qualifications from several companies. We received 4 packets of information. I have gone through them painstakingly. My recommendation to the select board is to choose Geodesign because they are the most comprehensive. They do have some cost associated along with their qualifications. And they are the most specific about the geotechnical information that's required in order to make better informed decisions about what to do with that road long-term. Some of the others are, lack the geotechnical know-how or the data. Some don't consider the drainage. One company chose to wanted the select board to pick a solution and then they would test to see if it works, which didn't seem quite reasonable. And another company showed examples of their work, but not the know-how of how they got there. So they didn't show how they did it. So I would ask for a motion to accept Geodesign's qualifications and offer them the contract.
I'll make that motion.
Motion made by Kyle, seconded
I'll second.
by Ben. All those in favor?
Aye.
Sharon, can you specify contract for what?
It's for the long-term study of the Macy Road, which is 0.7 miles along the Macy Road from the Sheldon boundary past Mrs. Young's house, where there has been the most significant bank destabilization. And we're looking for them to provide us an information to make an informed decision of what to do long-term for that project instead of spending $3 million every few years.
Okay.
Is there a cost associated with that RFQ?
Yes, they have put in a total recommended base budget of $70,425 with recommended optional budget of $15,500. And my suggestion is to add the optional budget to the base budget. It is still within our grant, so it would be still fully covered. Okay, And the last thing I have is the Norm LaValle plant swap that the Highgate Library and Community Center will be having on Saturday, May 25th from 10 a.m. to noon. Bring a plant, bring a bulb, bring a cutting, or just come and give a donation and take some cuttings or bulbs or plants. Also, they'll be having a take a book, donate a book, or just give a donation for books. Bring a big bag. I know they have lots of books they would love to get rid of to see go to a good home. And that's all I have.
Sharon, I mentioned something to Wendy yesterday when I was in there. When she gets the paper, this is just a suggestion. I don't have a problem putting the papers on the bake sale the day of the Memorial Day, to get those flyers out for the MDU budget. I think it'd be a good time to get those papers out. I just would like to know how the select board feel about it. There'll be a lot of people from Highgate, there'll be a lot of questions. If I have the paper on the table, they can take it. It's really up to you, but it's just a suggestion.
Like the flyers they did last time.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Why not?
And I just, because I mentioned it to Wendy, I'm gonna
Get really resourceful, charge $1 a piece for your bake sale.
But I'm just doing that as a suggestion.
Yeah.
There'll be a lot of Highgate residents, and I did want to put paper go out, but I think this would be a good time to put the flyers out. I think later in the morning, in Swan, and Roxbury. I'm just using that as
Well, do you make a motion now, do we?
Nope.
So just make sure when we.
Let common sense reign, we're good to go.
I will put my motion out.
I have one thing for executive.
Yep, perfect. We'll have to go out there, somewhere, over there in the corner or something.
Mary, I want to revisit the car show briefly. I just thought of something else to add to the stipulations.
Okay.
I think they should put signage because of the road and the visibility on that road on 207. I think we should mandate signage, fair distance.
Maybe even just the cones in the middle of the road like the farmers do when they're
Yeah, something that's going to,
give people an idea to slow down.
Visibility is
That's a good
really
idea.
not a good range.
So Ben's suggesting some visibility for 207, that an event is occurring, so maybe cones or signs that give
Just something to slow the people down a little bit.
Yeah.
It's a great idea.
35, you'll know 35 there, and there's dips both sides.
Yeah, so the visibility is really
Yeah.
limited on each
Good
side.
idea.
Good call, Ben.
Okay.
3507.
Got it.
5.
You have something, Ty?
I guess, yeah, just a comment. Memorial Day weekend coming up, Sunday, the 26th, I believe it is. The Vermont Thunder Ride will be riding again. They'll be going along 105, the same route.
It's all chewed up.
Yeah. If anybody's out and it's a nice day, it'd be a good turnout for bikes. But more in general for Highgate, it's motorcycle season. Starting to see them out there.
A lot, yeah.
Look twice.
Sharon, is our meeting on the 19th here in the town?
If you come to the town, we can just have it up front.
Little office, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's only like 5 of us now.
Yeah.
10 o'clock, right?
Yeah.
Ty's in it too. He
Yeah.
came last time.
He didn't come last time, but yes.
But he
he's in.
can.
Yeah. Hey Ty, are you coming on the 19th at 10 o'clock in the morning to our parade meeting?
If I remember it, yeah, it's this Sunday, right?
Yeah, it's a Sunday.
At the town.
It's at the town.
We'll just do it at the front part of the office because they're still painting in the back.
Okay.
If it's nice out, we'll have it on the picnic tables.
Perfect.
That's true.
Sounds like it'd be nice out.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be at the town? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like a secret.
And I'll pick up the flags tomorrow for the graves.
Yes. Yeah.
So-
Friday's our day. It's a rain day. Tuesday or Thursday, the rain days of next week. We'll look at what the weather looks like come Monday.
So they'll be at the office when you want them.
Just so you know, like, every year I go in 4th grade
That's nice.
to the
Yep.
cemetery behind the fire station. You learn a little bit about
It's awesome.
what the difference is between Veterans Day and Memorial Day. You each get at least one flag to put on a grave. Teachers are really supportive of it. So
It's great.
each year
It's a great
I've got
thing
a
to-
different group of teachers, but they all seem to be really supportive of it. So.
That's great. That's it. So we're going to motion to adjourn to executive.
I'll make that motion.
Motion made by Ben to adjourn to executive. We'll probably just go down in the corner down over there, outside of the camera, right?
Yeah, I would go. We can go in one of the locker rooms.
That's what I mean, yeah. What is it?